Hi, my name's Susanna Bowling, and this is live from the Hotel Edison Times Square Chronicles presents. My guest today is getting a well-deserved Tony nomination for Real Women Have Curves, which is one of my favorite shows. Benjamin Velez is such a new voice in the American musical theater, and today we get to talk to him. How did you get involved with this project?
Oh, well, it was during the pandemic when everything felt like it
Of
was
course.
forever dreadful and theaters were closed, and I was in panic mode. And I was lucky enough that a show I had worked on before the pandemic, Kiss My Aztec, that I wrote with John Leguizamo, was being featured in a concert that Playbill was doing called Viva Broadway.
I remember that.
And Sergio Trujillo, who is the director of Real Women Have Curves, he was in charge of putting that concert together. And what I didn't know at the time was that he was looking for a theater composer to be partnered with Joy Huerta, who is an incredible pop star in Mexico, who is now one of my best friends. But at the time, they had approached her to work on Real Women Have Curves, and she was excited, but she was nervous about doing a theater piece for the first time, and she had asked them to partner her with somebody who had experience in theater. And Sergio really loved my work on the song from Kiss My Aztec, and he asked if I might be interested, and I was like, of course. And so they had me meet with Joy on Zoom, and from the first minute we knew we clicked.
There was chemistry.
Yes, it's tough
That's
when you're
rare.
on Zoom because we didn't know this at the time, but we'd have to write the whole draft over Zoom. We didn't meet in person till a year and a half into writing the show, which was wild.
Really?
I went to see her, so we had already become very close over Zoom, but then she was on tour, and I'm from Miami originally, and she was doing a concert there, and I was in town visiting my mom, and I went to see her after the show. I went to see her perform, and it was like we'd known each other our whole lives, even though we'd never hugged. So when we'd had that first in-person contact, it was really special. But it was weird because you really get close to someone when you're collaborating, and to not have that in-person, to not know what that in-person dynamic is going to be like, it's always weird the first time, but it was special.
I think you have to have some kind of massive chemistry, communication, because you're reading each other's minds, you're reading each other's souls in order to bring out the best
Yeah.
of what can come out.
Well, and it's very vulnerable because the writing process is full of a lot of bad ideas to get to the good ideas. So you have to feel comfortable sending people, like, because it was over Zoom especially, we would be sending voice memos to each other. We would be humming different melody ideas or different lyric ideas. And when you don't know someone, you don't immediately have that comfortability to be like, how about this terrible idea? Maybe it'll spark something for you. And you sometimes, the danger is that you self-censor and you don't send all the bad ideas, but you never know which of the bad ideas might be the seed that gets you to the really special idea. And we just, because we felt so comfortable from the start, it flowed, and it was really easy.
How did you first get involved in musical theater?
I played Oliver in a production of Oliver when I was 6 in community theater, and I caught the bug. And I also played piano as a kid, and so the synergy of loving theater and then also loving creating music, it found me that way. I also loved making movies, so I thought I went to college for film. I thought I was going to be a film director.
Really?
But I wrote a musical in college that was just the most joyful experience I'd ever had, and that's when I made the crazy decision to pursue musical theater writing.
Who inspired you growing up?
Definitely my mom. You probably meant which artist, but my mom was the one that kind of pushed me
not
into...
necessarily.
Well, it's not an easy thing to get into because you got to have a lot of encouragement because it's a hard path.
Absolutely.
But you have to see people doing it that you feel like, oh God, I want to be like that. So my biggest influence growing up was the film composer John Williams. I was just obsessed with his film scores, and I thought for a while I want to be a film score writer. I was obsessed with Billy Joel, and I loved. Like, it's in my high school, they called me the piano man because I would, at any school assembly, I would play his songs and sing his songs.
Do you play Root Beer Rag?
I don't know that song.
Oh my God, it's his best song.
Really?
Yeah, it's instrumental.
Oof.
Look up Root
Okay,
Beer Rag.
I'll have to. But I love Billy Joel and I love Stevie Wonder, and it was a combo of, like, I wanted to hit that sweet spot of the epic storytelling of film scores with kind of the singer-songwriter feel of those artists. And then I also grew up just loving all the Alan Menken, Disney animated movies from the 90s that I grew up on that. And so the synergy of all of those influences, I feel like what I consider my
So that kind of
sound.
makes sense when hearing the music to Real Women Have Curves, because there's that Mexican feel to it. Is there another word for Mexican music than Mexican
Well, there's definitely
music?
mariachi music in it.
Ah, there he goes. Okay. There's a pop influence to it that you can totally hear the Billy Joel aspect of that. There's also a new feel to it, which I think is really exciting to hear.
That was something we really, when we first started working, Joy and I wanted to play around with. What is the world, the oral sound world of this show? Because music is just a part of the lives of these women. When you work in a sweatshop and you're
Right.
probably having the radio playing all day, there's not just the sound of what's playing on the radio, but there's the percussiveness of the machines, and they all come from different countries, so they all bring different influences with
Right.
them. But they're in the U.S., so we wanted it to be a fusion of a lot of different things.
No, you did. You managed to do it. When I went back to see the show the second time, I had already written the review, and I just really could sit back and relax and listen to it and hear it. And I had a newfound admiration for the show because it just encompassed so much musically.
Thank you.
And I saw it the day after the day of
Oh, wow.
the Tony nomination. So, and the audience was so with you.
The audiences have been amazing, and it's just, there's no better feeling than seeing an audience be moved and entertained by what you create. I mean, for me.
Now I have to ask you my favorite question.
Yes.
They say that songs are the windows to the soul. Oh, eyes. I just went ahead. They say that eyes are the windows to the soul, but I think songs are. What song or cycle of songs describes who you are?
Oof. In general, in life, you mean?
Well, this question should change daily, but for right now.
I'm a huge Paul Simon fan, and the song America is my favorite song, and I feel it's a combo of that and Billy Joel, She's Always a Woman to Me, but I feel like those two songs are just, there's nothing that makes me happier than listening to those songs.
I love that. What else would you like to create? What's next for Benjamin?
What is not next? I have so many shows in the pipeline that have
Really?
been dying to be produced, and I'm hoping this helps elevate them. But I mean, I love all kinds of stories, and for me, the joy of writing for musical theater is that the story dictates the kind of music that it needs. And I think that's hard sometimes because people want to put you in a box of, oh, you're this kind of writer, you write this kind of music. But I love being a chameleon, and I love trying to have the music represent the characters and not just be in my voice. Like one of the most fun parts of this show, I'm obviously a man, I'm not a woman, and we were trying to really give voice to women who have not had a voice in the American theater.
They haven't, and I love it.
And so part of the fun was trying to find how their language, how would they express themselves lyrically and musically. And for me, the challenge of every new show is how to do that in a different way. I don't want to just write, now that I've written this show with Mexican influences and pop, I don't want to do another show that's exactly the same. I want to find other opportunities to. So like I have a show I'm working on about borderline personality disorder. That's a comedy. And I have a show about a post-apocalyptic love story, and a show about a bunch of people turning 30 and living at home with their parents, and all kinds of different stories that all require different sounds. But the joy of each process is figuring out what that world sounds like.
Being nominated for a Tony Award elevates you. What would you like to say to all the songwriters out there that have not been nominated, that don't have that volition? What would you like to say to them?
I mean, it's a huge honor. I would like to say that I didn't know if this day would come, and I've been working on writing musicals now for 15 years, and this is my first Broadway show, and so to have this honor with that first show is crazy, but also really special. And you have to, if you believe in yourself, the opportunities will come. You just have to keep putting your music out there in front of people and finding stories to tell that you believe in, because if you believe in them, other people will too. It doesn't always feel that way. Sometimes you write, being a writer can be a very lonely experience.
Right. Well, you have your piano.
Yes, but the piano doesn't sing back to me. And
Aw.
I mean, maybe in my head sometimes. But that's honestly one of the reasons I love writing musicals is that it's collaborative, so you're not completely alone. But there's years of waiting and development when you don't get to hear it with actors and you don't know if it'll ever be produced, and you have to believe in it enough that it'll sustain you that long development process.
Have you been a part of the Richard Rogers or the Gilman Gonzalez or any of those awards that help sustain?
I haven't been part of the Richard Rogers, but I've been lucky enough to win a Fred Ebb Award and a Larson Grant.
Oh, wow.
And just recently I won the Kleban Award.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of those have been wonderful opportunities to help elevate some of the original work that I've done. But it's hard. And for
No, I'm
Kleban,
glad-
I
I'm
applied
glad
8 years without getting it. You just have to keep...
But with the Kleban, a lot of times it can be people that we've already really known. So, good.
It's funny with the Kleban because last year Lisa Loomer, our book writer, she won it for
Right.
submitting her book for this show.
No, it's funny because I normally cover the Kleban, but this year I couldn't. And so my friend Craig Horsley covered it for me. So I should have known
No,
this.
that's okay.
Because that's one of my favorite awards,
It
actually.
was really special.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would like me to know?
Why do you cover musicals? What is it about them that you love?
So when I was very little, my mother watched the Tony Awards, and I was about 4 or 5, and the couches back then came off the ground, so you could go underneath the couch. And my parents were watching the Tonys, and I heard Leslie Uggams sing from Hallelujah Baby, and I immediately came and watched, and I've been hooked ever since. I still remember that song. I can still sing that song. As a matter of fact, in my head, I actually changed it so it was better. No, really,
Yeah.
seriously, because when I sang it, people were like, I don't think that's how it goes. I'm like, well, yeah, now it does now.
Maybe that's a sign you should be a writer.
No, don't think so. No, I don't know enough musically. I mean, I can walk into a theater and hear songs and walk out singing them. Like I have perfect memory that way. If somebody has stolen from music from a show, I'll know it instantaneously, and I'll start
that.
singing that other song. Not always good, but yeah. So, but thank you for being with me. Congratulations!
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited that you're nominated.
Thank you. Me too.
And I'm so excited that that show at least got some love because I personally think it deserves a whole lot more.
I agree, but it's a very crowded season.
But your
so we're
audience,
lucky to have...
but your audience loves it,
I know they do.
and they're on your side.
It's pure magic just seeing the audiences every night because they're moved.
They are moved. I was moved. I cried both times. I am so happy that my guest, Benjamin Velez, came onto my show today. Go see Real Women Have Curves. It's musically brilliant, emotionally touching. I'd like to thank Magda Katz for videoing us and making us look and sound good. I'd like to thank Ramel Gopez and the Hotel Edison for giving us a home that's safe and allows us to speak what we'd like you to know about. I'd like to thank you for joining us. I'm Susanna Bowling, and this is Live from the Hotel Edison, Times Square Chronicles presents.